Shrek will eat you and your pussy. Okay, so I just decided right here and now that I am going to make a little vlog because I just downloaded the Kindle app on my iPad and got Kindle Unlimited. How the fuck do I get the cover? So here's the cover of the book. It's called Get in My Swamp by G.M. Ferry. And it's an erotic Shrek fan fiction. So the first chapter starts with Leona, which I'm guessing is like Fiona, but like Leona, so there's no copyright, okay? And the first line, the opening line is, most young women don't imagine their bachelorette party at a swamp in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Florida. Most women also don't imagine being surrounded by a gaggle of females so dissimilar from themselves that they wonder if they're even the same species. That's funny. That's funny, okay? She's a pygmy girl. And that's just the first page of this lovely book. And if I'm going through this, you're going through it too with me, please. So, get some snacks. Get something to be hydrated. Grab a candle. Well, it's just perfect. It's like a horror story. This kinda is. So, get ready for the ride. Ladies, gentlemen, and other people.
Pussy, 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 dick, dick, pussy, ass, titties, dick, dick, pussy, ass, dick, titties.
Okay, so I'm on chapter 6 now, and Shrek's name is Beck. I have a lot of questions for the person who wrote this. Just go through some of my annotated stuff that I have so far. So something funny was saying, so she was talking about her fiance and stuff and was like, yeah, to their face, like they're really nice, but behind their backs, he will tear them apart like he's Chef Gordon Ramsay and everyone is just an idiot sandwich. That's funny, okay? But page 5, she's still talking about his fiance and is talking about the sex life, right? And says, the size of his little friend though. Let's just say the rumors aren't true about the correlation from hand to dick size. He has big hands. Don't get me wrong, I'm not discriminatory to dicks. I'm all about dick positivity and whatnot. The problem with Lawrence is he practically only uses his dick. Mouth, fingers, toys, all too much for him. I didn't really need to know that, but slay, I guess. Thank you. And to that she says, thank God for my healthy imagination, the internet, and my faithful vibrator, Buzz, as I like to call it. And then later on she was talking about how she looks like she's all just like, I don't know why the fuck this rich man chose me out of everybody else, but I've got huge boobs, porn star lips, and an ass that won't quit. That was clever. I will give the author that. That was extremely clever, okay? I love that, honestly. An ass that won't quit. That's so inspirational and poetic, and I find a lot of comfort in this line. So then after that, we're in the POV of Shrek, or Beck, I guess. So Beck. Beck is a huge ogre, and he's green. He's basically just Shrek, but like a sexy version. Yeah, he's like a sexy Shrek, okay? Like ripped and big and has a deep voice. And somehow out in their swamp, so basically there's all these other like magical creatures, and they don't want to be found out. They're just living in the swamp, okay? And they don't want to be found. Somehow they have cable and internet so they know what the real world is like. I would like to know how the fuck they have cable and internet. Someone would have had to go to this swamp and set up power lines and stuff. And somehow they'd have to leave to buy phones and TVs. So how the fuck do they get cable? That's what I want to know. So then Beck is talking about like how he eats these humans that come along in his trap, right? And he's like, my rationale for trapping and eating them is that they clearly want to die. I mean, there's a sign, come on. There's a little sign telling nobody to go in there, and you know what? That's a fair point. It's fair game. They don't read the sign, they don't care, they clearly want to die, okay? And then page 11, so the next page, he's still talking about himself, Beck. He says, "It can be rather lonely being the only 7-foot green, hilarious, and gut-wrenchingly handsome creature around. See, sexy Shrek." And then he goes on to tell us about these fairy tale books he's ordered on Amazon. Where the fuck is Amazon delivering these books to? They just drop it off at the sign that says, "Do not enter. Shrek will eat you and your pussy." And then this right here is fairly erotic, and it's about gardening. Erotic gardening. Gardening is also a great hobby for me. It keeps me busy, and there's something just so erotic about moving my fingers in such a way to make sure each delicate seedling grows to its full potential. Did I read that right? He's turned on from gardening because he's wiggling his fingers. What the fuck? What the fuck? Cheers. Okay, so at this point we are back in Lyona's point of view, and she says, "I look up at the metal headboard to see my wrists are tied. I'm naked. My body is oiled, and I'm lying on Satan's sheets." Then she goes on to talk about how instead of panicking, she's just so calm. She knows he's coming in more ways than one. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it says, "I struggle against the ropes around my wrists, ignoring the pain. In fact, enjoying the pain. I want to touch myself. My cunt is throbbing, and it feels that if someone doesn't take care of her, I might explode. I wither my legs together. The small friction between them gives me an ounce of relief, but it's not enough." And then the person comes by and is like licking her stomach and is like, "Be a good girl and stay still." He chuckles. I hate chuckling. I hate that word so much. And it turns out it's a nightmare about having sex with her fiance. So now, at this point, she's like at the silent retreat thing. She does not want to be at the silent retreat. She's like, "Fuck these bitches. Fuck these hoes. Fuck them children. I don't want to be here, okay?" Which, honestly, fair enough. I wouldn't want to either. And she's walking around in the woods trying to find cell service until she realizes that she's lost. She's running around the woods being like, "Where the fuck am I?" And she falls into the trap. And now we're back over into Beck's perspective. So he goes over and is like, "Ooh, a human scream. I get to eat somebody. Yay!" And he looks inside and is like, laying at the bottom is a woman. Not just any woman. She's beautiful. She has jet black hair lying over her tan skin. Even from far away, I can see her lips are full and red, and her eyelashes are thick. She almost looks like a doll lying on the dirt floor. Her chest rises and falls, letting me know she's still alive. Her ass that don't stop and her porn star lips are gonna be what saves her. So at this point, he picks her up and is like, "Wow, she's so tiny." And he notices her nipples and is like, "The outline of her nipples are like pearls I want to put my mouth on." Bro, it's nipples. Why do you want to put your mouth on the nipples? Why? Are y'all actually like, y'all are deranged? And then so basically, he catches her, right? Brings her inside because she's screaming. So he ties this bitch up and is like, "Damn. This hoe won't shut up and she's gonna cause problems for me." Like, he's like, "I just want to tie her up and have my way with her. I don't want to kill her." What a gentleman. So she's screaming. So she's covering her mouth, like, brings her in to the little thingamajigger, right? His little cottage, and ties her up and puts her into a cage. And every time, like, he notices her trying to escape, he's like, "Aw, how cute." Like a little fucking Sims game, okay? He's just picking her up and like putting her back into the cage. This shit is crazy. And then he's like, "I'm a gentleman. I don't want to defile her, not yet, so I'm just gonna defile her in my dreams." Anyways, I think that's all I can handle for tonight. So I'm gonna go to bed. And I will see you guys tomorrow, most likely. Send help. Everything for our little sleepover, a little bookish sleepover is ready. Okay. And I just got off of work. It's late again, so that's why it probably kind of looks like the same day, and I just like put on different clothes. But it's not. And I did read a little bit, so far she's been trapped and everything. And they held some sort of like community meeting for like all of the magical creatures, and they're freaking the fuck out like, bro, you gotta kill this girl. Like, you gotta eat her for us. Like, isn't this what you want, bro? And Beck is just like, no. Like, no, I don't want to do that. And they're just like, well, what are you gonna do then? And he's like, well, have sex with her and keep her my prisoner. So after this whole thing, they're just walking back to his cottage, and Donnie, which is Donkey basically, is up like, bro, let me see her. I just want to see her. Like, shouldn't you be sharing your new plaything? And Beck's just like, no, I'm not going to get her to do anything for me if I frighten her to death. It's probably traumatizing enough to be captured by a 7-foot-tall ogre. If I introduce her to a centaur on the first day, her heart might stop. Ah, shut up, man. Her panties are probably soaking just thinking about you. You know all the women in the village want you. What? Okay. I see you. So then after this, Leona is coming up with a plan to escape. She's gonna seduce him. Use those porn star lips and ass that won't quit. And seduce him. This is what she says about that. She's like, I think the feminist gods will forgive me if I use a little seduction to get out of the clutches of an ogre. Fuck that guy. Operation Pussy Trap commence. That's now my new favorite saying, like, Operation Pussy Trap commence. I love that so much. Like, I'm actually genuinely enjoying this book. Like, it's obviously satire and it's meant to be funny, even if some of these things are fucking wild. So then after this, he goes back and is like making her breakfast. There's this like French toast and it's like really good. And she's like, fuck you, let me go. And he's just like, no, can't do that, bro, sorry. He was just like, what did I think was going to happen? She would be so thankful that I didn't eat her and that she would be my happy little worker girl and suck my cock every night after dinner. How could I be so stupid? This is never gonna work. No girl wants to just work all day and then suck your cock. And then later on, this quote has me in a chokehold, okay? She doesn't seem like the type of girl to swoon over such basic decencies, such as not eating her, but maybe my good buddy Stockholm will help me out. You know, your little good buddy Stockholm syndrome, we love him. He's so kind and helpful in making people like you. So yeah, right now he's also trying to seduce her basically, but with food. Just making her some yummy food and thinking that will solve everything. What the fuck is this? Genuinely, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? I need some water. And no, this shit is not making me thirsty. I just already am thirsty, okay? Cheers. Just chillin'. Yeah. Okay, listen to this. She says, so fucking Beck has gone out and gotten some food, made some yummy food, right? He comes back and she's like, that smells delicious, she says as she licks her full lips. I'm hoping my shorts do a good job of hiding my erection, but I know they probably don't. My dick's a hard one to hide. As if reading my mind, her eyes trail down. She licks her lips again. I'm gonna fucking gouge my eyes out. Help me. I feel like there's just stuff to say for every page in this book. There's a lot. So she's like in her cage trying to seduce him to get out, right? And he's not falling for it, but he's like, you know what? I'm gonna play along. So she's like, do I have to eat in here? She stands up and presses herself against the bars, giving me a pouty look. Blah blah blah. Her breasts somehow seep through the bars. As if she notices me looking at them, she pulls herself away from the bars a bit and grabs her breast. I'd love to come out and get to know you better. Her voice is low and sultry. Then she starts, like, playing with herself. And he's like, damn. So he's like, I move over to the bed parallel to her cage, sit down with my legs spread and pull out my cock from the top of my waistband. Her eyes grow wide. Whoa, you're big. The tone of her voice seems genuine and surprised. What have we as a society come to at this point? There's no hope. There's no hope at all for us regaining any amount of, anything.
Good girl. Open up for me.
아직도 페이크를 못 먹는지 차츰 익숙해지는 너의 삶도 꽤 괜찮아 이 소식에도 웃음이 나죠 햇살 가득한 창가에 기대 이어폰을 껴 너와 같은 커피숍 우리들만의 커피숍 향기가 나는 이곳에서 멍하니 앉아있어 모르게도 버릇처럼 여기 왔는지 몰라
I want to be alone. See, look at how unbalanced, look at how crooked it is.
Lady, I love you, and I just wanna show you. From the way you touch me and kiss me to the sparkle in your eye. Oh, how I love you. I just feel so lost without you. With my love and intuition, you never had to
I'm good at dating. That's it.
어제와 맘이 급했어. 네가 너무 예뻐서 너의 이름도 몰랐어. 중요하질 않아서 느낌이 좀 이상했어. 눈이 마주칠 때 정말 내 것 같았어.
Like, it was just like, no big deal. Like, sucking dick and cock. Like, I'm just like, oh my God. Time and place. And you did it at my birthday dinner. And I made excuses for you then. You were talking in detail about things you wanted to do to the waiter. And when I said, James, he's straight, your response was, doesn't matter, I'm a celebrity.
Hi, I am back home now, which is nice. I needed a little bit of a refresher. Refresh my palate from this wild book. Yeah, but I did finish it today, so a bunch happened since the last time I talked to you, so let's get into it. So around page 60-ish, she was starting to get it bad, you know? She was like, I can't deny he is handsome in a smug, annoying kind of way. I knew his dick would be big. He's 7 feet tall and built like a boulder, but God, seeing that thing, imagining it deep inside me. Then on page 61, she was like, get a hold of yourself. This is Operation Pussy Trap, not Operation Stockholm Syndrome. You're right about that, girl. You have Stockholm Syndrome. This entire thing is a kidnap, shrek, erotic, romance, fantasy thing. So then later she was planning her escape. So she was like, bro, I gotta get out tonight. So she seduced him pretty damn good, you know? And so she's like, well, can't I sleep outside of the bed tonight? Or outside of the cage tonight? And he's like, yeah, you could share the bed with me or you can sleep on the floor. I also got some Sunny D to represent what she wanted. A big D. So she's like, why can't you be a gentleman and just sleep on the floor? And he said, "No thanks, if you want to sleep on the floor you can." "Dick," I whispered to myself. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, did you want something? It sounds like you've got one of my body parts on your mind." That's like an elementary school comeback. Girl, this reads like children that have sexual issues. I don't like that. And then things started to get more concerning with the sexual thoughts. She's like, "He could break my neck without even exerting much energy, and for some odd reason that turns me on. God, do I need a therapist?" Yes. Yes, you do, girl. You very much do need a therapist. Right now, girl, okay? So then, later that night, she's sleeping with him, and she notices he's wearing pants, and she says, I don't know if I'm relieved or disappointed to discover he's wearing pants, but not just any pants, no. Gray sweatpants. Thanks to TikTok, I knew exactly where she was going with this, and I'm pretty sure you do too, so I will not elaborate on that, but I will elaborate on what she did next, because if I was traumatized, you get to be traumatized too. So she says, "Before I even know what I'm doing, my hands are down my pants. I might as well get myself off before I try to escape. It'll help me stay focused." Why is getting yourself off helping you get focused? Girl, the fuck? Then, I feel like it's just funny, the terminology that, this author is using. She's, talking about her pussy purring, and I'm just like, does that pussy purr? I said, yep, meow. It's giving Nicki Minaj. But anyways, after that, she starts to run away. And he obviously catches up to her and catches her, and she's like, fuck. But at the same time, I don't really want to go because I'm aroused by him chasing me. What? So then he pins her down and is like, "You have two options. I can either let you go, or you can let me spread your legs open and lick your pussy until you're begging me to fuck you." Girl, what? What is this? And she chooses to have her pussy licked and then be fucked instead of going. Stockholm syndrome indeed. So basically they have some rough sex, and her clothes are all shredded and stuff, which I'll mention again later, but her clothes have been shredded off. But she's saying "Oh, I'm sore, I don't know if I can even walk back to the cabin or the cottage." And he was all worried about her and stuff, all sweet. And she's like, "No, I'll just be sore. I've never been impaled by a monster dick before. It was top notch, but yeah, I'm gonna be sore." Impaled? By monster dick? Not just fucked, but impaled. You know what? Okay. He also mentions that this girl's skin is a soft golden hue. All I can imagine is somebody literally just being golden when people say that, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Why can't you just say she's tanned? She's not gold, she's tan. Girl. So then at some point they're snuggling later that night, and she says, "I look down and nuzzle against his pecs. They're so soft, and even though they're so warm, and even though they're not soft, they're cozy." Why are you snuggling against his pecs, and why are they cozy? Green Shrek ogre pecs. Why? Why is this a thing? Then she's like, "To think, just last night I was contemplating my escape. Now I'm giggling and rustling around in the covers with him. I guess that's what good dick can do to you. Miss Girl..." Fuck you, iPad. Miss Girl has been dickmatized. She is so down bad for the dick that she is willing to be kidnapped. She is willing to be kidnapped and stay captive for the dick. She's been that dickmatized to 7-foot ogre dick. Yeah. So basically, once again, her clothes are shredded, right? So they go into town to go get new clothes, and the fucking fairy godmother is there. Her name is Gilda now, but the fucking fairy godmother is there. And at that point, so she's in the back by herself with the Gilda, the fairy godmother, getting new clothing, right? And this young wizard walks in and is like, "Hey, I have a potion that could erase all her memories so that she can just leave." But at this point, Beck knows he's in love with her. Bro is in love. Okay? So he's like, "Yeah, no. I'm not gonna tell her because then she'll want to leave. And I don't want her to leave because I get some good pussy out of this." So later on, they're like, at this point in the book, it's actually really cozy. Like, it's feeling really cozy, and I was like, wait, this is all kind of nice. I get to like read about her going about her day gardening and being in the cottage and like going out and bathing in a spring. And like, it's just really cute. And then this happens. When I get to the spring, I pull my casual knit dress over my head and place it on a rock. Beck said that although people in the town know of the spring, no one ever visits. Hopefully a leech won't crawl into my vagina. What? Why is that where your head goes? Not just, I hope a leech doesn't latch onto me and suck my blood. No, I hope a leech won't crawl into my vagina. What? What? Oh god. So while she's bathing, Donnie, the donkey, or like the centaur type of thing, comes out of the bushes and is like, hey, what's up, girl? Like, what's up, baby girl? Is the vibes he's giving, right? And she's like, oh my god, this man is seeing me naked. So she changes and he starts like sliding up to her being like, yeah, I want a piece of this too. And she's like, no. And then she screams and Beck comes over and beats the fucking shit out of this donkey. Like, this man is barely breathing. Like, there's so much blood, she's not even sure if he's alive. Just because the pussy is that good, the pussy do be purring. So at that point, she was like, I never knew seeing someone covered in someone else's blood could turn me on so much. It shouldn't be turning you on. It's blood. Girl, he's covered in blood. Okay. And then they have sex again. And I suffered through this, so you're gonna suffer through this too, because I was cringing so hard. Beck says, I want you to let them know how much you want me. Tell the whole world that your cunt was made for me. He orders me and then sticks in one of his fingers. You are already ready for me, good girl. He positions his cock at my entrance and thrusts into me without hesitating, with a need to claim me. He's not taking his time. He pounds me hard. You, thrust, are, thrust, mine, thrust. At that point, I was ready to stop reading, but I was like, you know what, I have a video to do, and I have to see this shit through, okay? So, this is where it starts to get crazy. So Beck realizes, like, hey, I love this girl. I need to let her go. So he goes to go get the potion, but now she's decided that the Stockholm Syndrome is fully kicking in and that she too loves Shrek. So basically, when he comes back and refuses to let her stay, she like locks herself into the cage and decides to punish him by locking herself in the cage and fingering herself and like, you know, doing the do. And he breaks down the bars and takes her out and starts to fuck her. Like, she's got that Stockholm Syndrome down bad. And here's what Beck says to her after pulling her out. You've been a bad girl, haven't you? She gulps and nods her head in admission. What did I say happens to bad girls? I lean over her, supporting my weight with the bars above her. They get tied up, by the way. Plot twist. They get tied up and... yeah. So that happens, and then she's like leaving the cottage being like, this bitch don't want me here. She finally got the hint, and at that point, apparently, Lawrence tracked her phone GPS and went and found her and was like, yeah, we're going back. So she goes back for months, and she's like, okay. So at this point, she feels like she's like from Tarzan or something, and like she's back in the city, but all the sounds are so loud and it's hurting her head, and she just don't like it there no more. So she's just hanging out, and then Victoria, her fiance's sister, we need to keep in mind, sister, is like, hey, we should hang out soon and stuff. So she's like, okay. So she decides to surprise Victoria, or the fuck her name is, yeah, Victoria, by getting sushi and going up to her apartment, and she opens it and she's like, she hears Victoria go like, oh shit, and like bangs around, and Leona's just like, okay, maybe I came in at a bad time, you know, she's doing the do with somebody. Remember how I said Victoria is Florence's sister? Victoria and Florence are fucking. And she found out that her fiancé is sleeping with his sister. What the fuck?
Slurp that dick till it come. Smack my ass like the drum.
So yeah, so at this point, she's got her own little place. She moved out from with Florence because she's like, ew, what the fuck, incest? I can't ignore that. So she's working a job and everything. So at that point, so she's home alone at night, and a bang comes from my front door. I yank my hands to my comforter and pull the blankets in front of me as if they are a shield. And there's just some bitch out there pounding on the door, just banging on it. And the door slams open. So she's, quote, a little bitch hiding underneath her blankets, right? And she hears a voice, and it's fucking Beck. Did Shrek just break into her house to have sex? What the fuck, bitch? Okay. So before they go back, she's like, so, I can come back with you. Yes, but on one condition. Her face sobers. What's that? You have to sit on my face before we go. What? So basically, she lives happily ever after with Shrek in their little swamp, and they have lots of sex. The end. This. Well. There's a second book, but yeah, that was the end of that book. And it was a roller coaster. I'm not sure how to review it because I know that this book is not serious. So, like, do I review it like a joke of a book, or do I review it as, like, a book that someone wrote being serious, thinking that it's good? Because, like, I give it a 5 out of 5 because that shit was fucking funny. I found it somewhat enjoyable. Okay? And I read it in 2 days. It's not a long book. The writing itself is kind of bad. It's not horrible though, like it's engaging enough, you know, it does what it needs to do. And it does the do. Literally. A lot throughout the book. What I don't like is how rapey it was at times, like being tied up and like, you've been a bad girl. And all like the dialogue reads like a kindergartner is learning how to write. The dialogue is not good. It's really not. It's so cringy. Like the comebacks and like all of like the bickering seems very elementary or like grade school type of stuff. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. And like just the themes, like this being kidnapped and falling in love with your captor really does not sit right with me. But I know this is a joke. So it's not like Colleen Hoover where I have to be like, no, this bitch is serious and actually thinks that her books are amazing when they're not.